We're driving. Yeah. Hey, Jared. Yeah, change up a little bit. Is with you? Okay. We got a warrant for your arrest, buddy. Put your hands behind your back.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It was mid-spring, and on the endless plains of southern Michigan, it's farmland as far as the eye can see. On one of those particular farms, a Lenawee County Sheriff's deputy had arrived, as there had been a report of a woman going missing. He met the woman's husband, and he, for one, wasn't sure what to make of it. But as we see time and time again, the amount of lies in this story could jam a wood chipper. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this sole video, we are looking at the story of a woman who vanished from her home. Her husband was saying she'd gone into the unknown, and no one was knowing where that was. Other people would say, come on now. You know, people often talk about the banality of evil. You know, that the real monsters are not these mustachio-twirling madmen. They're regular born-ass folk like you and I. Or, well, I, at least. This dipshit takes that to a new level. The basement level. Let's give it a go. To begin with the where, as in where do these people get off doing these horrifying things? That is Franklin Township in southern Michigan. It's basically a big square made up of farmland and fields, and it's surrounded on all sides by more of the same. It's the sort of place where simply just by, the very nature of being there, you're lost, though let's not say that in front of the 3,000 people who call it home. One of those 3,000 people back in 2021 was Dena Warner, born Dena Hardy on January 1st, 1968. The story of Dee, it's a tragic one. It's a story of feeling as lost as Franklin Township, of feeling confined by the endless grasslands and fields, and how easy it is to disappear into them. It was April 25th, 2021, when a 911 call was made to the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department. Dee Warner, she had gone missing, leaving behind questions about every aspect of her life. That very morning, one of Dee's kids, and she had 5 of them, was rocking up to Dee Warner's home in Lenawee County. It was a Sunday morning, and Dee and Raquel would always have Sunday morning breakfast together. Except, Raquel noticed something was off right away. She hadn't been answering any of her texts to confirm their plans, and Dee was someone who answered every text and called if she didn't. She was extremely close with her kids and stayed in contact at all times. Raquel also noticed that one of Dee's cars was there parked at the farm office, which was close to the house. Her other car in the garage, so she hadn't driven off somewhere. No Dee though whatsoever. Raquel then started wandering around the area, the farm, to see if she was out and about. Her cars were here, so she likely was too. It was then she spotted Dale Warner, Dee's husband and Raquel's stepdad. He was out on the farm with the fertilizer, working hard, as he always was. He didn't know where his wife was though. He had seen her that very morning and assumed she was still sleeping inside. They went down the road. Dee's brother Greg, he was a neighbor. He hadn't seen hide nor hair of her either. No one knew where she was. Now folks, let me talk to you for a minute about something I care deeply about. That's you. And it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Would we even be grown adults without some mysterious pain just showing up one day saying,
I'm here now?
How about that doctor's appointment you're supposed to make but never did? That mole you were meant to get checked out that turned into a little molehill? Or how about that 6-month appointment at the dentist you never made? It can be frustrating to make a medical appointment, from wait times to insurance to availability. As you get older, you gotta prioritize your health more and more. You gotta make time for those appointments and be proactive about them. The doctor ain't gonna book themselves, and you gotta nip those things in the bud. And we all would if there was an easy way to do it. But finding the right doctor shouldn't be that hard. That's where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. ZocDoc is a free website that makes booking a healthcare appointment ridiculously easy. You can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for you, read verified patient reviews, and book an appointment instantly. No awkward phone calls, no being put on hold, no stress. Whether you're looking for somebody to take a look at that weird mole you have, talk to about mental health support, your chompers, your bum wing, all your bits and bobs, you name it, ZocDoc has over 100,000 providers across nearly every specialty. With ZocDoc, you can filter for doctors who take your insurance, who are located nearby, and who are highly rated by verified patients. Best of all, you can actually see which doctors have open appointments with real-time availability. It's important to work with a doctor who listens, who knows what they're talking about, and who you can trust. We've all been there. You want someone who can calm your fears, take you seriously, and make sure you are in tip-top shape. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. Listen, you can book an appointment before this video is even over, and sometimes score same-day appointments. And let's not forget, it's free. So yeah, I think I might actually just see what I can book here. I don't know what that is, but I've had it for a while. So stop putting off those appointments and take care of yourself. Go to ZocDoc.com/thatchapter or click the link in the description to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Big thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this whole video. Now let's get back to it. They started looking around Dale and Dee's house, right? And Dale said he had last seen his wife asleep on the couch, in the living room, which was at the rear of the home, but there was nobody there. Now, there was a blanket on the couch, and it was surrounded by tissues, almost as if somebody had been, laid up on the couch with the flu or something like that. Dale said he had seen her there that morning on the couch, sawing wood, before he went out to start working on the farm. Looking around further in the house, they saw that Dee's makeup bag was missing, and they couldn't find neither her phone nor passport in the home either. So missing those things you would need to get far, far away, had she done just that? Well, see, the thing was, Dee had 4 kids from her previous marriage, right? And they were all grown adults. Then she married Dale, and they together had another child, a daughter who's only 9 years of age. And Dee was extremely close with all of her kids, and so she would never have left the minor child, her 9-year-old daughter, alone. Dee wouldn't just abandon her, not when she was so close with all of her kids. That young daughter, by the way, the 9-year-old, was at a sleepover this particular weekend. What was weird, though, and kind of struck out immediately, was that leading to the door at the rear of the home, where the couch was, there was tracks, tire tracks, leading up to that door, which then the couch would have been right inside. Now, Dale had no idea what those tracks were. It looked like either a truck, a jeep, or a tractor had pulled up to the door, perhaps when Dee is sleeping, and then she vanished.
Central 632, I'm gonna have one copy. You can make contact emergency at Winfield Park. There'll be a blue screen forehead that they use into the park in the restroom. With a Shannon Aldridge.
Hello?
They didn't know what to do, and so they called the people who would. A sheriff's deputy showed up that very evening.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank God. Alright, so I hear your wife is missing?
Well, I don't know if she's missing or if she just left, so.
Okay.
She had an altercation with one of our employees, 2 of them. Yesterday, I came home last night and she was really upset. She was talking a lot of bad things as far as employees. The one employee decided to quit. She was going to talk about killing herself and taking off and leaving.
Okay.
But she had COVID 2-3 weeks ago. She just got over COVID a week or so ago. And she ain't acting right since. Her glands are swelled up. She's got an infection. And she's got migraines. And last night she was coming down with a real bad migraine. So she's got some migraine pills in there she takes. She took quite a few of those, and then she finally basically passed out on the couch, went to sleep, and got her calmed down. I thought, that was close to midnight when she finally went to sleep. I said, I got to go to bed, man, so I got to get up in the morning.
Right.
So she was sleeping on the couch, and then this morning around 6 o'clock, I got up, and, she was snoring away. I was going to wake her up.
The deputy spoke to Dale, who said he had seen her that very morning. In fact, Dee had spent the night before on the couch, hence the blankets, and they had actually fought the night before. Fought over some of the employees on the farm. Dee had actually been texting a couple of her other employees the previous day over this one guy who had quit. Dee vanished on a Sunday. The Saturday before, numerous people were actually quite concerned about Dee, because she was very upset over this employee who had just quit. They had had a big argument, it had been like pretty mega, tears had been flying, shouts, curses, the whole big kit and caboodle. And then, the next day Dee vanishes. That's not quite a quinky dink. She was even texting her other employees how to block. Like, how do you block this employee from the Facebook page? Because Dee was not very tech savvy. So that happens, then she vanishes. It's weird.
I texted her and she didn't answer, so I figured, well, she's still sleeping, she's not answering. Raquel called me, her daughter, Stephanie called me, and said Raquel called her, she can't find her mom. And I said, well, she's at the house, she's in there laying on the couch. Excuse me, so she couldn't find her, and then I called Raquel, and I says, your mom's not there? She was just there, when I was there an hour or two ago. She said, no, she's not here. Well, nobody get hold of her. When Zach came here, I says,
Dale confirmed that she had been very emotional the day before. That's sort of kind of why they were arguing. She'd also been quite under the weather lately. She had had a fierce dose of vitamin D. She'd been having migraines, hence why she had been sleeping on the couch.
And she was gone. She took all her bags. So somebody picked her up. So she's with someone somewhere.
Okay. Do you know of anybody who...
I don't. They called everybody that, like I said, I figured she was with Zach with her son.
Right.
I don't know what else to do other than wait a day or so and see what she shows up.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah,
but, I would think something was up, but she took her stuff. So, it's not like somebody forced her to go anywhere.
Sure.
She took her clothes and took her, her curling iron and that stuff. So
She wasn't there. Her bags were missing. Her cars were there. Someone must have come get her. She must have gone willingly if her bags were taken, her makeup, all that kind of shit.
I don't know what else to do other than wait a day or so and see what she shows up.
Yeah, if you
I know everybody's all fired up, the kids are all fired up and call police. This isn't the first time she's done this, guys. The first thing is she's not communicating with anybody.
Right. But
The only thing that's really strange, too, is this time she put her wedding ring in my desk.
Yeah,
she's never done that.
Yeah, that is odd.
So she set this on my desk in the office, and she went in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just puzzled.
Well, I understand.
I'm concerned because my daughter's wondering what the hell's going on.
Now, there was no activity on her bank accounts or bank cards, anything like that, though Dale would also be able to say that she carried a lot, and I mean like a lot of cash with her on her person, so if she had RUNNOFT'd, you wouldn't expect anything online to show up, especially if she didn't want to be found. And before the deputy could leave, Dale shared with him one more thing. Dee had a secret phone. Nobody else knew about this. None of her kids knew who she was close with, none of her colleagues knew who she was close with. In fact, Dee didn't even know her husband knew. If it's that secret and then it vanishes, you probably want to find out what was on that phone.
It's a secret phone that she doesn't know that I know she has it, but
Why would she have it?
I have no idea. I haven't confronted her about it because I didn't want the confrontation. But I know she has another phone.
Okay. Well, that might be an important chunk of information there.
So she calls. She got another phone. She calls somebody on that phone, I'm sure.
And secrets in the story. Spoiler alert. There's a few. Dee Warner, born Dee Hardy, was 52 years of age in 2021. She was described by those whom knew her as tough, especially when it came to business. She was a real straight shooter, no messing about, no mucking about. She liked to be taken seriously, but she was also extremely kind and extremely funny, just, out of the office. All about her family and her kids. She had 4 grown children from her first marriage. And it appears that Dale met Dee while working together. And both of them, Dee and Dale, were married to other people at the time. Yikes. But, when you know, and sparks flew over all fertilizer, because, farming, all that, fuel. farming things, animal shit. So they both kicked their spouses to the curb, got with each other, and they married in 2006. Together then, about 6 years into their marriage, they would have a daughter. Now they were a little chalk and cheese, Dee, party girl, love to go out, get the fancy dresses on, have a little fun. Dale, bit of a dry shite, happy to just sort of stay inside and sit in silence. He didn't get on particularly well with her grown children, and his own kids from his previous marriage, and he had 4 also. They didn't really mingle. Dale could be a bit of a dick when he wanted to be, and you'll never get this. He usually wanted to be. Dale and Dee, though, they began to work together. In fact, that was one of the reasons they kind of bonded so fast to start, was that they wanted to start this business together. In fact, their marriage at times definitely seemed like less of a happy, kissy, lovey marriage, and more of a business arrangement with benefits. They were growing something alongside their marriage, and when I say that, I mean like literally. They were growing stuff. They were running a farm together in Franklin Township called War Ag Farms. They also had a chemical company together and a trucking company, DDW Investments, more like BBW Investments. And they ran all 3 of these out of their home/farm/office, whole thing they had on West Munger Road. Things had been sort of ho-hum as the years went by. The marriage between Dee and Dale had its good spots and its not so good spots, like most marriages. But they met with friends, they went on vacay baby, and the businesses were doing okie dokie, especially the trucking business. And then she was gone.
Since Crime Stoppers of Lenawee County shared information last week about 52-year-old Dena Warner being missing, the county sheriff says his detectives are responding to a lot of tips from the community.
Obviously, as time goes on, we are more and more concerned about her safety as obviously Mother's Day passed and she was not around and didn't make contact with anybody.
Warner was last seen at her home on Munger Road in Franklin Township on the evening of April 24th and into the early morning of April 25th. There's no information anyone saw her after that. The sheriff believes she doesn't have her cell phone and hasn't posted any updates on Facebook.
Her running away was the only real possibility, though, I mean, highly unlikely that she would actually do that. But all possibilities needed to be looked into. I mean, the former employee she had had that fight with the day before she vanishes. Had he returned to the house, driven his truck up to the back door, come in with murder on the mind? She lived in the same place that they worked from, so he, knew where she would be this Sunday morning. The case continued, and worry continued to grow for everybody. Everybody except Dale.
This isn't the first time she's done this, guys.
And the thing about Dale is the reason he wasn't worried was that he seemed content that she had so many secrets, she must have ran away to one of her many secrets that she kept from him, that he only had hints about. I mean, he really did begin to believe that she had fled the country. She'd gone away to the Caribbean or Mexico or Barbados, somewhere. That she had left the country and ran away with, some other fella or something. Over the next few days, police came to the property and began to snoop around. They're having a go, as it always starts from ground zero. Dale was questioned again to see if he had anything more for them. He expanded on her being upset the day before, that they had an argument, and from the way he was putting it, she sounded like the person she was in most danger from was herself.
And that's when she says, well, I'm all done. We're fucking selling everything. We're done. And she hung up the phone, and I had no more contact with her the rest of the day. I tried to call her several times, and she wouldn't answer phones. She was insistent on trying to start a fight. She says, you don't care about me, nobody cares about me, and what does it matter if I'm even here? And I says, Dee, you can't talk like that. And she kept saying the jabs. After hindsight, I look back, I think she was trying to get me mad so she could have a fight so that she could have a reason to leave that night.
Now the police, they did go question and investigate the man, the employee, ex-employee, she'd had a fight with the day before she vanished, and he was cleared. He was alibied out. He hadn't gone to the Warner farm. They also learned, surprise, surprise, that she had been having a fling with a fella in town, and he too was alibied. He was out of town at the time she vanished. So, again, this is kind of a place where, like, if you're here, you're lost. There's not going to be any randomers who are just going to show up to the house. And she had taken stuff that made it seem like she was running away, but there was no other signs that she had ran away. Even though all signs pointed to her leaving and everyone was freaking out she was missing, the one person you'd think would freak out the most was happy as a clam. Dale was chilling, and as they ran a business from the same area where the house was and the offices were, there were cameras. Cameras that didn't show a single car arriving and picking her up. From what they could see, no one else had been there. About a week after she vanished, Dee's brother, who lived down the road, Greg, he had sorta taken charge of the case.
Her demeanor would more likely set the house on fire on her way out if she were leaving. I mean, seriously, she's a scrapper.
And he organized the search with like 50-ish people to go around the area on foot, search the extensive area. And while they were doing the search, Dale, he just sort of rocks up on his ATV, staring off into space. And he's like, looking for my wife, are you? Well, good luck. And they didn't find a thing. In fact, it all just kept coming back to Dale. But it was weird at the same time, because it's like, if Dale had done something, you think he would be, oh my God, pretending to be upset that she's gone. He didn't seem to just give a shit.
It's been 6 months and still no sign of Dee Warner. The Lenawee County Sheriff Department says this case has been ongoing all summer.
We thought that this was a very prudent time to do a even more thorough search.
Sheriff Troy Bevere says they haven't gotten any new leads, but
we wanted to make sure that we covered every basis and got out here and did a thorough search one more time.
Now, Dale repeatedly would speak to the police, voluntarily, and repeatedly deny harming his wife. They did have a fight. Dee was saying she was done with everything, yada yada yada, very upset. Again, this was about that fight she had had with the employee. He also continually brought up the secret phone she had, pointing the finger at some wider mystery and conspiracy.
What kind of phone was it?
It was an iPhone.
iPhone.
It's a newer, it was at least a 10.
At least 10?
Yeah, but it's a newer one. I'm guessing that other phone is who she was using to contact someone.
But days turned, into more days, weeks, they're called. And she was still missing. Just news just spread and spread about this mom of 5, who vanished. People began to talk. They began to share stories. Dale? He told you that? He told me something else about the last time she was seen. One time, he was saying, the fight we had the night before was mega. Biggest fight we'd ever had. Next time you'd see, I just talk to him. The fight wasn't that big of a deal. He'd actually even given her a massage that night. They were, just such buddy-buddy. Then other times he would say she had stormed off. His accounting of the last time she had been seen changed depending on the day of the week. For example, he told the police that after they fought that night, himself and Dee went to bed around midnight. As he said himself, he had to be up early for work the next morning.
I thought, that was close to midnight when she finally went to sleep. I said, I gotta go to bed, man, so I gotta get up in the morning.
Yet, a neighbor saw their lights on in the house till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. The morning she vanished, Dale used the Find My iPhone app to locate Dee's phone, because she had gone missing, or at least that's what he told the police. Thing was, he did this before Raquel told him she couldn't find Dee, so his explanation just made him seem more guilty. Even the fact that she had allegedly left her diamond ring behind, that ring was worth $40,000. Dee would be damned before she would leave that thing lying around like that.
Yeah, that is hard.
So she set this on my desk in the office, and she went in. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just puzzled.
Well, I understand.
I'm concerned because my daughter's wondering what the hell's going on.
Months would pass, and Dale would say, man, she'll turn up, but I'm sure she's grand. And in fact, if you want my honest opinion, the police, they're just doing a fucking bang-up job, lads. Like, they couldn't be doing any more, honestly. And while he was sure of that the police were doing an amazing job and they don't need any help at all, more and more people were sure that Dale was behind his wife's disappearance. Eventually, the Michigan State Police, the FBI, would get involved, helping the search, and searches, many of which were done on the farm. All 7 searches and multiple interviews, though, were coming up empty. Eventually, Dee's family, and especially her brother Greg, would hire a private investigator named Billy Little. The family were so sure that Dale had done something, and they wanted Dee declared legally dead. So, if she was declared legally dead, then they could file a civil suit against Dale because they were so sure he had killed her, even though there was no evidence to, point to that. But then the reason they were going to do that is because their, level of burden in a civil trial much less than in a criminal one. They didn't even have her body, if she was indeed dead. But, booty, it all pointed to there being one, because the PI, private investigator, uncovered a lot of things, and he would just uncover more and more that made it seem like they were pointing in the right direction, that Dale had done something. Dale could be physically abusive towards Dee at times. He was extremely manipulative and controlling. He would stalk his own wife. He would stalk her. He would follow her around. When she went out to the bar, to the whatever, he was watching every... Get a load of this, right? He even put a tracking device on her car. He needed to know where she was at all times. The scene. There were cameras at the farm, yet where the tracks were at the rear of the house, there were no cameras there. The rear of the house led to the dining room where Dale said she had been sleeping. Had he driven a truck or a tractor or some vehicle to the door and removed her body? The tissues all around the place, cleaning the scene. From texts that police later recovered, it did appear that Dee had been trying to run away. Then something happened. Who was responsible, though? That was the question. Everyone, though, kicking the tires and having a bit of a chinwag, thought they had a very good answer to that question. It became an open secret that Dale had murdered his wife. And Dale was sort of half telling the truth when he said, she wanted to end things. She didn't mean everything. She just wanted to end things with him. She did want to, sell it all. End the things that way. Sell all the businesses, the farm, the trucking, the yada yada. Sell it all. And then get away from him with their daughter. And remember that secret phone Dale kept kind of just bringing up all the time? Pointing, trying to point the finger away, that there's some secret to other people in her life that I don't know about. Police never found any evidence that there was a secret phone. Never found any evidence at all that Dee Warner had a secret phone. Likely he just invented it. In fact, Dee Warner didn't know how to block that ex-employee on Facebook because he would be maybe typing some keyboard warrioring, some nasty things. Dee wanted to block him. Right? She had to ask somebody else, like a colleague or an employee, how do I block somebody on Facebook? Dee Warner was not tech savvy. If she had a second phone, she would have needed somebody to beep boop boop set that yoke up. He was saying all of the secret phone nonsense and her stuff missing to make it seem less like she was trying to get away from him and more like she was trying to go to somebody else. No, she was just trying to get away from him. What actually happened next was, sort of funny in this extremely horrifying and tragic story, was that Greg, the people who were actually actively trying to find Dee, they decided to put up a big billboard. Any information, help Dale find his wife. They literally put up a billboard right outside the farm, help poor Dale find his missing wife. This was from the Justice for Dee group. This was, of course, done in a very sarcastic manner, so that every time Dale looks outside his house, he can see the wife everybody believed he killed. It was finally in September 2023 that Dee was declared legally dead. No sign of life in over 2 years at this point, and all signs they did have pointed to foul play.
Michigan State Police Detective Sergeant Daniel Drewer took the stand today, telling the court Dee is dead.
Based off of my experience and that of my partner and the training that our department has given us, Dee Warner is deceased.
He told the court there's no evidence Dee Warner refilled needed medication since April 2021. He testified there has been no use on her phone and no financial activity to her bank accounts or credit cards.
Is there any evidence of large withdrawals by Dee Warner after the 4/25/21 disappearance date? Any withdrawals by her personally?
None.
Dee's daughter, Raquel Bach, also testified, saying there is no way her mom would have willingly walked away from the life and family she loved.
My mom would never leave my little sister. My mom would never leave her kids.
And Detective Drewer named Dale a suspect in Dee Warner's death.
Are you asking if there's a suspect for her murder?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Can you reveal that?
Dale Warner.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who's the suspect in her murder?
Not a viable one, no, sir.
The family also feels Dale played a role in Dee's disappearance, and they say if and when Dee is declared dead, they will sue Dale for her wrongful death.
And 2 months later, Dale Warner was arrested and charged with her murder. They didn't have a body yet, but I guess they just felt they had enough circumstantial evidence pointing to him, and he pleaded not guilty. According to detectives and the prosecutor, at Dale's preliminary hearing held in the spring of 2024, everything just pointed to him having done something. The preliminary hearing, it's to present all evidence uncovered so far to the judge, argue a case, and then the judge decides if the trial should move forward or no. Having hurt her the last time she was known to be alive, he was the last person to have seen her, and then moving her body out of the rear of the house with a tractor. Like driving the tractor up to the rear of the home, putting her body, into the front end, and well, he had a lot of areas to choose from for where to hide her remains. Searches had been done again and again, all coming up empty, but the list of places to, sort of just kind of goes on and on and on. But of course, his defense was saying no. There's no evidence to show he did anything. He voluntarily spoke and willingly spoke with the police so many times, allowing them to search everything. There's no indication Dale hurt his wife.
Throughout all the testimony, whether it was friends, family, or co-workers, there was a number of undisputed things. Dee Warner was a woman with a big heart and a temper. She cared for her children and grandchildren and employees. Based on the testimony of the witnesses and the evidence admitted, the people have met their burden for purposes of preliminary examination that there is probable cause that Dee Warner died by homicide at the hands of the defendant, Dale Warner.
Dee has been declared legally dead, even though her body hasn't been found. Dale has been charged with making her legally dead. The searches, though, they still were ongoing. Now that he's been arrested, her body has to be found. Finding her body would be just one more nail in the coffin Dale was probably going to be leaving prison from if he actually was convicted. But it also, she just needed to be put to rest at this point. And it was one day in August of 2024 that another search was done. Just like the, dozens that had been done before so. And it was while searching a garage that was a little bit away from the main property, one filled with fuel tanks and fertilizer tanks, that searchers and authorities, they noticed something. They noticed that kind of hidden on one side of a fuel tank, it was actually a fertilizer tank, was a welding. It was not a factory done welding. Now this had been overlooked a good few times because they always believed that Dee has been buried on the property. She's not going to be, anywhere else hidden. They were looking for a grave. And so they kind of were just like, well, let's just take a look, for shits and giggles. So that welding didn't match and it wasn't factory done. Why not take a look? They removed that particular tank to be x-rayed. And the x-ray showed bones inside of the tank. Dee Warner had been in the fuel tank on the property the entire time. Right there, right in front of their eyes. She was found in a place they simply hadn't looked yet. She was inside a fertilizer tank. They had been led to it as Dee's brother Greg recalled Dale refurbishing an old tank not long after Dee vanished. One of those sort of offhand, anything could be a lead type things that he pointed to police. And then doing that search that day, they noticed a patched welding had been done on one side. The morning Dee had been reported missing, CCTV had shown Dale moving around in the area where all the welding equipment was held. She'd been missing for over 3 years. Her cause of death would be ruled as strangulation. Likely the very night she had tried to leave, she had confronted Dale, about the abuse, his behavior, his controlling, his stalking. She wanted to sell all the businesses, take her daughter, and go. And Dale, if he did it, did it. And the fact that Dale had already been arrested and charged, and the judge at the preliminary hearing ruled that there was enough there to, move forward to trial, well then them actually finding the body, with a cause of death being strangulation inside his fuel tank, that was sort of just icing on the cake. A very, shitty cake for Dale, let's be honest. And then there was another arrest.
We're driving.
Yep. Hey, Jared. Yeah, changed up a little bit. Is the with you? Okay. We got a warrant for your arrest, buddy. Put your hands behind your back.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you serious, man?
I'll explain everything to you. Just give us a minute, okay? Pop it off if you want, Nick.
Yeah.
We're gonna take that watch off, Jared, so we don't hit it with the cuff.
Michigan State Police arrested Jaron Dale Warner, 28 years of age, in March of 2025. He's one of Dale's sons, and he was charged with tampering with evidence and accessory after the fact to a felony.
Jaron, your warrant is for accessory after the fact of a homicide and for tampering with evidence. What's that, buddy?
I'm not sure what that means, I guess.
You probably hate me, and that's fine. I don't blame you, but I've always been truthful with you. And I told you that day that you knew certain things about that tank and that it was the right thing to do to talk to me about it, right? And short of begging you, I've done everything I could possibly do to get you to talk to me. And unfortunately, you didn't want to do that, and now we're here, right? So essentially, you took actions after the homicide that you now know and should have known, likely, that it was after a crime occurred. I've been truthful with you. Your dad has put you in really shitty spots throughout this, and unfortunately, you continue to let him to do that. And it's not a position I envy you for, that's for sure. But those are the cards you were dealt. But again, short of begging you, I've done everything I could for you to talk to me and explain this part of the story. And unfortunately, you didn't want to do that.
Had Jaron helped his dad hide his stepmom's body in that fuel tank? What was his role? Well, who knows, unfortunately, because in May of 2025, those charges were dropped against Jaron Dale Warner. They were dropped because, quote, the authorities were unable to locate a witness, adding that the charge could be refiled if the unnamed individual is located. So, either someone was telling tall tales to the police about Jaron Dale Warner, or the tales are true, they just swiftly regretted telling them and booked it. Jaron Dale Warner is currently a free man. His daddy-o, though, not so much. He is scheduled to go on trial for the murder of Dee Warner come January 2026. Prosecutors believe that they had a fight that night, that she wanted to leave, get a divorce, and he strangled her to death. Then he moved her body with a truck or a tractor out of the rear of the house and then hit her when deputies arrived. Later, after they left, he slid her body into an old fertilizer tank and moved the tank to another area of the property, painting it and even plastering it with his company logo. Police never found it as it was welded tight, hidden, and they were looking for a grave or a burial site. When Dee Warner had been hidden in plain sight the entire time. So folks, keep an eye out for the upcoming trial of Dale Warner. I'm sure a hell of a lot more will come out when he goes on trial at I think it's at the end of January 2026. So keep an eye out. Maybe there will be more arrests. You know, his son. Police said that if they can, corroborate more of those witness accounts, that he too could be up there right alongside Big Daddy Dale. Truly, evil is the most boring shit there can be. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot that you're here, folks. As always, please check out the That Chapter podcast, which is a brand new episode of the That Chapter podcast out every single Monday. So please give it a go, or you can check out the That Chapter Patreon, where for $2 a month you get early access, ad-free, all videos. There's a playlist of Patreon-only exclusive videos. There's a Patreon-only Discord. I also put up stuff I get through FOIAs, like body cam and police interrogations, all that kind of extra stuff. So, you know what? Check it out. But you know what? More importantly, you do you. Please take care of each other and yourselves, because I love you. Mike out.